So at some point, ladies and gentlemen, Ilhan Omar is going to have to explain how she went from 50K to being worth what they're reporting is 30 mil. And that moment may be coming sooner than what she wants, because she is now under investigation. And so while subpoenas are going out to her Democrat allies, Tim Walz, Jacob Fry, Keith Ellison in Minnesota, she may have just avoided, for now, direct involvement in the Minnesota probe, where Democrats are accused of conspiring to impede enforcement amid the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. But let's not get it twisted. Ilhan Omar is not in the clear. As always, smash that thumbs up button. That tells me that you love the content. Subscribe to the channel for more and share this video. That way more people see what's really going on. And so first, let's get into the breaking news update of Ilhan Omar and her husband's sudden and newfound wealth. Take a listen.
Investigation after racking up millions while she was in Congress. Senior national correspondent Kevin Cork has it. What's up, Kevin?
Good to see you, my friend. What's the old saying? Follow the money? Well, that's precisely what the House Oversight Committee is doing. They are probing squad member Ilhan Omar's skyrocketing family wealth, Jesse, especially in the wake of that $9 billion, some would argue $19 billion, Somali social services fraud scandal that exploded in her district in Minnesota. The Oversight Chair, James Comer, says his team's lawyers are exploring the extraordinary step of subpoenaing Omar's spouse over his curious business practices. Republicans want to know how the Somali-born Omar and her politically connected husband, Tim Minette, went from being nearly broke to being worth around $30 million in just a year, according to her 2024 disclosure forms. Quoting Comer now, there are a lot of questions as to how her husband accumulated so much wealth over the past 2 years. It's not possible. It's not. And he's a money guy. Minette and his partner, Will Haler, back in 2022, formed an investment firm, Jesse, named Rose Lake Capital. They had $42 in their bank account at the time, but in a year, up to $25 million, according to Omar's filing. By the way, he also has a wine business that went from next to nothing to millions on its books. Not surprisingly, associates were so perplexed about the irregularities, they brought information and attention to the feds to, look into it. Now, for her part, the Congresswoman has repeatedly, and I say defiantly, denied any wrongdoing, while being also careful to criticize the ongoing probe. But, sometimes they say, Jesse, the ones who yell the loudest have the most to hide.
Well, innocent until proven guilty. I'm sure everything.
This is exactly why this sudden national spotlight is so frustrating for Ilhan Omar and Democrats in Minnesota. Let's be honest. Nobody's checking for a Minnesota on a regular basis. No. If this were Chicago, New York, California, that would be one thing. Those places live under constant national scrutiny. But Minnesota, no. Is not typically viewed as a place that draws sustained national attention. And so with everything that has been coming out as far as with the fraud and now the connections that she has to that, and now when you add that on top of the fact that suddenly her husband and her were able to go from 50K to being worth 30 mil in a year, understand the the odds of that are extremely impossible, basically. And so there's some questions on how a very little known congresswoman from a very little known state in Minnesota and her husband were able to acquire that level of wealth in basically no time at all. Which brings us to this. Will Cain was one of the voices who helped push this issue into the national conversation, ladies and gentlemen. And in many ways, he helped blow this thing up where it became now national news. And so let's take a listen to the clip that now many people have seen. Take a listen.
Ilhan Omar, Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison. We see a web of connections between them and those directly involved in the fraud. For example, Ilhan Omar alleged enabling introducing the 2020 Meals Act, which was ultimately subject to fraud. Held a campaign victory party at the Safari restaurant. That's where one of the men who run that restaurant has associations to the convicted individuals. And then there's Tim Walz. House Oversight investigation role in his role as governor. Or Keith Ellison, the Attorney General. His job is to enforce the law in Minnesota, but instead he's getting donations after meeting with the Feeding Our Future representatives. The Feeding Our Future, the biggest known yet, part of this entire theft ring. Let me give you the perfect example. How about Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar? In February of this year, she shot down claims that she's actually a millionaire. She wrote, "My salary is $174,000 before taxes. I don't have stock or own a home, and I'm still paying off my student debt." So if you're going to lie on something that is public, maybe try checking my financial statements, and you will see I barely have thousands, let alone millions. Well, people have checked the public records now. Ilhan Omar apparently has a net worth upwards of $30 million, somewhere between $60 and $30 million. And get this, it's because of companies run and owned by her husband, who in 2023 had a net worth of $51,000. In 1 year, that $51,000 grew from $6 to $30 million. 3,500% growth in 1 year. What a good communist. It's always equality for you, elitism for those in power.
Wow. This is possibly why you see her going full court press mode, because of that. That's some questionable things got going on. One moment you're saying, hey, I'm only making my salary. Next moment it comes out, you are worth millions of dollars. Wow. Makes a lot of sense when you want to draw attention away from something. And now you got what's going on in Minnesota with ICE being on the ground. Why not try and put all the attention, all the spotlight on that? And that's what it looks like she's giving all her attention to in order to keep the spotlight off of her and her financial situations. Take a listen.
It is appalling for our Republican colleagues to be okay, for there to be cell detentions in ICE for American citizens. It is appalling for them to be okay, for there to be checkpoints in American cities where people are asked for their papers. Those of us who escaped places like that, the one place where we thought we would never experience this is the U.S. goddamn states.
Wow. And ladies and gentlemen, this is where things change, because while the Trump administration is pushing back hard with this investigation, Ilhan Omar is responding by leaning into this ICE crackdown narrative. Now, here's the key difference between politicians who may have gotten away with this kind of thing in the past and what's happening under the Trump administration. If they find something, they actually go after you. And that's what has Omar nervous right now, because let's be honest, a lot of citizens are skeptical that anything ever really happens to powerful politicians. They've seen fraud before, they've seen scandals before, and most of the time, yeah, nothing comes of it. But the concern here is that this administration is doing things different. If corners weren't covered, if every track wasn't cleaned up and something gets uncovered, it's game over. And so now it's a waiting game, and we'll see what comes out of all of this, and we'll see who gets caught flat-footed.
Woman Ilhan Omar's net worth went up nearly $30 million. The question is how. Here's what we know. Omar's husband, a former political consultant, owns a venture capital firm based in Washington, D.C., and a winery in California. Take a look at these numbers. In 2023, Omar disclosed a maximum of $50,000 in assets at the winery. The next year, Dana, that number increased to $5 million. Meanwhile, her husband's company, Rose Lake Capital, reported a maximum of $1,000 in assets in 2023. The next year, it was $25 million. Despite that, Omar denied being a millionaire earlier this year, posting on X, quote, "I barely have thousands, let alone millions." House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer tells Fox News an investigation is underway, writing, quote, "The committee is working on addressing ethics concerns regarding Representative Omar and her spouse, and we hope to have an update soon." But Omar says she's being targeted.
Ever since I've gotten to Congress, they have been doing these sort of weird ethics investigations. None of them have yielded anything because I have been as transparent as I can be.
Of course, others see it differently. Elon Musk says Omar committed fraud, while President Donald Trump posted on Truth Social, quote, "She should be in jail or even a worse punishment, sent back to Somalia." Omar authored the Meals Act in 2020, which loosened oversight on food programs during COVID. Federal prosecutors say one of those programs, Feeding Our Future, stole $250 million through fake meal sites. We did reach out to Omar as part of this story, but so far we have not heard back, Dana.
Okay, Nate Boy, thank you for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is not going away anytime soon, and this is exactly why Democrats are desperate to regain control of Congress come November, because that's the only real way to slow any of this down. And so with that being said, now let me hear from you. Drop your comments down below. Don't forget, smash the thumbs up. Let me know that you love the content. Subscribe to the channel for more. Share this video. That way more people see what's really going on. Until next time.